Hey everyone, this is Ring Authority News, your home for non-stop WWE energy. Subscribe now, and let's dive right into the ring. Pressure in professional wrestling doesn't always erupt under bright lights. Sometimes it settles quietly backstage, where words weigh heavier than punches. Bayley's recent loss was one of those moments that lingered long after the bell rang. On paper, it was just another defeat. In reality, it struck at something far deeper. Losing to a less established opponent challenged not her ability, but her identity. Bayley isn't just a competitor. She is a standard-bearer, someone who built her legacy on resilience and dominance. That's why this loss didn't feel temporary. It felt symbolic. Instead of brushing it off, doubt crept in, whispering questions she wasn't ready to answer. Was she slipping? Was the division moving past her? Wrestling thrives on confidence, and when that cracks, everything else follows. This wasn't about embarrassment or anger yet. It was about fear, the kind that forces a veteran to confront the possibility that staying on top may now require reinvention, not repetition. Backstage calm that couldn't hide the storm. When Bayley appeared backstage, she wore composure like armor. Her interaction with Maxine Dupree was polite, controlled, and outwardly supportive. Yet nothing about it felt relaxed. WWE excels at using subtlety, and this exchange was layered with unspoken tension. Bayley's compliments sounded rehearsed, her pauses unnatural. Body language told the real story. This wasn't confidence. It was containment. She was holding something back, trying to convince herself as much as anyone else that she still had control. Backstage segments like this matter because they reveal emotional truth without shouting it. Bayley wasn't lashing out yet. She was disappointed, frustrated, and quietly unraveling. That emotional space is dangerous. It invites outside voices. When a competitor is already questioning themselves, even well-meaning words can feel invasive. The calm wasn't strength, it was fragility. And fragility, in wrestling storytelling, is always a warning sign that something is about to break under pressure. The lingering echo of Asuka's criticism. Asuka didn't need to appear for her words to leave damage. Her earlier comments hovered over Bayley's mindset like a shadow. They weren't insults screamed in anger. They were precise, almost clinical observations. That made them worse. Suggesting that the loss got into Bayley's head struck directly at her self-image. Bayley has built her career on mental toughness. To have that questioned felt like an attack on her foundation. WWE used this brilliantly, showing how psychological warfare doesn't require confrontation. Asuka planted doubt, and doubt did the rest. Every silence, every hesitation backstage felt louder because of it. This is how wrestling storytelling elevates words into weapons. Asuka framed Bayley not as beaten, but shaken. That distinction matters. Physical losses heal, mental ones linger. By the time Bayley stood backstage, she wasn't just replaying the match, she was replaying Asuka's assessment of her. And that internal echo set the stage for everything that followed. 4. Lyra Valkyria changes the atmosphere. The moment Lyra Valkyria entered the conversation, the tone shifted. She didn't barge in with arrogance or hostility. Her calm confidence made her presence feel intrusive without being aggressive. That contrast unsettled Bayley instantly. Lyra asked a simple question about the loss. But simplicity can be dangerous. It forces honesty. Lyra didn't posture herself as a fan or subordinate. She stood as a peer, someone unafraid to engage directly with a veteran. That alone disrupted Bayley's attempt to regain balance. WWE framed Lyra carefully here. Not reckless, not disrespectful, but self-assured. In wrestling, confidence from a rising star is often perceived as a threat. Lyra wasn't trying to start a fight. She was testing boundaries. Her demeanor suggested she believed she belonged in that space. For Bailey, already emotionally exposed, that presence felt like pressure rather than support. The room didn't get louder. It got tighter. Encouragement that slowly turned into a challenge. Lyra's initial words were reasonable. One loss doesn't define a career. On the surface, it was encouragement. But she kept going. She questioned Bailey's reaction, hinting that insecurity was taking control. That's where the tone changed. Advice turned into evaluation. Support became scrutiny. By echoing Asuka's criticism, Lyra crossed an invisible line. Truth, when delivered without timing or empathy, feels like provocation. Lyra wasn't shouting or insulting, but her calm delivery made every word sharper. She wasn't speaking like a fan offering comfort. She was speaking like someone positioning herself above emotional weakness. That distinction matters. Bailey didn't hear concern. She heard judgment. The exchange transformed from conversation into confrontation without raising voices. WWE excelled here, showing how psychological tension escalates through implication rather than volume. Lyra didn't attack Bailey's career. She attacked her confidence. And that is always the quickest way to ignite conflict. Bailey's outburst reveals the cracks. When Bailey finally snapped, it wasn't sudden. It was inevitable. The composure she'd been forcing collapsed, replaced by raw emotion. Her response was loud, personal, and defensive. She asserted dominance because she felt it slipping. Bringing up Roxanne Perez wasn't random. It was strategic. Bailey needed comparison to re-establish hierarchy. Insults replaced professionalism, not out of cruelty, but survival. Storming off wasn't just anger. It was retreat. She lost control of the conversation and needed escape. WWE captured this moment perfectly. This wasn't a heel turn or a tantrum. It was vulnerability breaking through arrogance. Bailey's legacy, expectations, and fear of irrelevance all surfaced at once. For the first time, she looked human in a way that couldn't be masked. This wasn't about Lyra. It was about Bailey fighting the idea that her place at the top is no longer guaranteed. The meaning behind Lyra's quiet smile. Lyra's reaction after Bailey left said everything without words. Her smile wasn't joy, it was confirmation. She had proven she could get under Bailey's skin. That moment subtly shifted power. Lyra didn't chase after her or apologize. She stood firm. WWE framed her as calculated, not careless. Whether intentional or instinctive, Lyra understood the impact of her words. She challenged a veteran and survived the fallout. That matters. In wrestling, influence is as important as wins. Lyra demonstrated she could affect someone established mentally. That elevates her instantly. But it also paints a target on her back. Confidence and provocation walk a thin line. That smile suggests awareness, maybe even ambition. Lyra no longer feels like a background figure. She feels like a catalyst. If this was a test, she passed it. The question now is whether she's prepared for the consequences that follow when veterans feel threatened. A crossroads that redefines both careers. This confrontation works because it lives in gray space. Lyra wasn't entirely wrong. Bailey is struggling. Bailey wasn't entirely unjustified. She wasn't ready to be dissected publicly. Wrestling thrives on these blurred lines. For Bailey, this moment marks a crossroads. She can spiral into defensiveness, or she can recalibrate and evolve. Vulnerability can destroy confidence, or sharpen it. For Lyra, this exchange accelerates her rise. She is no longer just competing for wins. She is shaping narratives. WWE now has the opportunity to build a rivalry rooted in psychology, pride, and identity, rather than simple competition. Words caused more damage than any move could have. If developed properly, this story can elevate both women. One stands on legacy, the other on ambition. When those forces collide, the fallout defines careers. This wasn't an ending. It was a warning.